that shot. It wasn't just the end of a game. It was the final exhale of a dynasty. The moment when the curtain dropped on an era that had defined basketball. But this isn't just about Jordan's story. This is the story of a decade where everything changed. Let's hit the court and relive the fights, the legends, and the moments that made the 90s the NBA's greatest era. Not just highlights, not just Jordan, the whole wild ride. Before the rings, there was blood. The East Coast wasn't a game, it was a war. Madison Square Garden, the United Center, the Miami Arena. These weren't just venues, they were battlegrounds. Pat Riley's Knicks didn't finesse, they fought. Every rebound was a mugging, every screen a challenge. Bodies hit the floor. Stars got knocked down and had to earn their way back up. It wasn't pretty, it was personal, and every game felt like a final.
I don't think they realized what was going on.
Then came Reggie Miller, the archer in a gunfight. Cocky, clutch, deadly. In '95, he walked into New York's house, scored 8 points in 9 seconds, and walked out grinning while Spike Lee lost his mind. If Knicks Pacers was grit and skill, Knicks Heat was pure animosity. But before any of them, the Pistons' bad boys set the tone. Hard fouls, trash talk, and a mission to break your will. That was the blueprint Jordan had to beat, and once he did, the rest of the East followed the violence. Van Gundy clinging to Mourning's leg like a ref breaking up a bar fight. This wasn't about style, it was about survival. The East was a proving ground. Only the toughest survived. The paint was sacred, and in the 90s, it belonged to giants. This was the last stand for the classic big man, the decade where centers weren't just role players, they were the centerpiece. The bruisers, the anchors, the stars. Hakeem Olajuwon danced like a guard and defended like a fortress. The Dream Shake, it wasn't just a move, it was art. Shaquille O'Neal didn't dance, he demolished. He didn't finesse his way to the basket, he tore the rim off to get there. Shaq shattered expectations, literally, and forced the league to rethink how hoops were built. And Dennis Rodman, he didn't need points, he needed chaos, rebounds, disruption, energy. No one outworked him, no one out-rebounded him, not even close. These titans defined the interior, their battles in the paint were wars, their presence undeniable. And when the game stretched to the perimeter in the years that followed, it only made what they did more legendary. The big men ruled the 90s, and they ruled it hard. The Dream Team wasn't a team, it was a global spark. Barcelona, 1992, 12 NBA stars, 11 Hall of Famers, and one mission: dominate. What they did was something else. They created obsession. They made basketball a language spoken on every continent. Jordan, Magic, Bird. Together, they weren't just the faces of a league. They were the faces of a movement. Their talent pulled eyes from Tokyo to Berlin. Dražen Petrović, the Croatian sniper, showed the world that Europe belonged too. Before Luka, before Dirk, there was Dražen. Relentless, fearless, and brilliant. His tragic death in 1993 stunned the sport, but his legacy lived on through every international star that followed. And follow they did. Pau Gasol, Yao Ming, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. They grew up watching the Dream Team. Their dreams started with that broadcast. The 90s weren't just about dominance at home. They were the start of something far bigger. Basketball didn't just expand, it exploded. The 90s turned the NBA into a global myth.
I will have to retire from the Lakers.
Magic walked away, tears in his eyes. Then Jordan left for baseball. Barley took center stage. Rodman spiraled. Spruill snapped. Lockouts loomed. This era was chaos, on and off the court. But even in the madness, moments burned into memory. Iverson crossed up Jordan. The league was shifting. The 90s didn't slow down, they cracked wide open. Jordan's return wasn't a comeback, it was a coronation. In his first week back, he dropped 55 in Madison Square Garden, and it was clear he wasn't finished. The next season, the Bulls won 72 games, a record, a warning. Jordan was back on top. The flu game, the shrug, the shot. Each moment another chapter in the myth of Michael Jordan. But the Bulls weren't just winning, they were becoming legend. They redefined dominance, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yet even legends fade. Phil Jackson stepped away. Pippen was traded. Jordan walked off again. The dynasty collapsed, not with defeat, but with design. And in the vacuum, new power rose. San Antonio, Duncan, Popovich. Quiet excellence. Team basketball. The NBA had entered a new millennium. But the echoes of the 90s, they still lingered in every arena. In every player who grew up watching. The curtain had closed on an era, but its shadow never left the game. The 90s weren't perfect, but they were real. No scripted drama, just heart, grit, greatness. Players played through pain, through pressure, through everything. Because every rivalry burned, every win mattered, every loss cut deep. The 90s didn't just shape basketball, they showed us what it means to compete, to give everything, to leave it all on the floor, to turn a game into a legacy. And that's why we keep coming back. We keep watching that shrug, that crossover, that final shot. Because it wasn't just basketball, it was belief. So, what moment still gives you chills? Drop it in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, because some stories never fade. And the story of 90s basketball, it's one we'll never stop telling.